Hello, this is Yash Raga from Multi Investments. Today I'm going to talk about why stock markets are falling and being so volatile and what should mutual fund investors do in such an uncertain situation. Let us have a quick analysis. What has happened to the markets in last 1 month? Why it has become so volatile and uncertain? Why there is a sudden change in investor psychology about stock markets from bull markets to bear markets? What led to such a situation that investors are worried about their sudden wealth erosion? Let us talk about as to what has happened in last 1 month. There are four factors which needs to be analyzed. The first factor is rising inflation. Thanks to Russia and Ukraine war, inflation has touched to a decade high. Oil prices are at life high, which hampers Indian markets a lot. Commodity prices have risen nearly 50%. One simple example of inflation rise is that we as Indian consumers are now able to feel the pinch in petrol price rise, and we can actually feel the rise in inflation. The second factor is rise in interest rate hike. RBI all of a sudden had an inter-MPC meeting 4 weeks ago and decided to increase the interest rate by 40 basis points. Central banks across the world suddenly seem to now worry about rising inflation and now intending to take the interest rate to pre-COVID levels. Rise in interest rate means no free money or easy money available with investors. Pricing power has reduced. Borrowing cost is more, thus crunching the liquidity in the hands of the investor. The third factor is foreign investors have been selling. They have been selling since last 6 months and pulled out nearly $20 billion from Indian markets. Normally, whenever the rise in interest rate happens, FII tends to pull out their money from equity markets and park their money in debt markets. Although such huge selling from FII has been well dodged by domestic mutual funds and institutions. Compared to US markets, Indian markets have done remarkably well and have shown a lot of resilience. This shows that Indian growth story is still intact. The fourth factor is global market sell-off. Global markets have been down by more than 25% and are on the verge of entering in the bear market phase. Overall, selling in global markets has happened because of lesser than expected corporate earnings, rising inflation having an impact on their earnings. Take example of Walmart, a huge retailer of US. They have mentioned in their earnings report that due to inflation, they are not able to pass on the cost to the customers, resulting in declining margins of their company and having the worst result in a decade. IT companies' honeymoon is over and they have officially entered in the bear market phase. Attrition cost is hurting the earnings of the IT companies. So these are few of the many reasons why we are seeing a sell-off in the equity markets and why such volatility is seen. So what should mutual fund investors do in such a tricky situation? First thing, don't stop your SIP. Don't get panic and stop your investments. This is the best time for you to invest as this phase of volatility will not be there for too long. You should not get panic and redeem your investments. Top up your SIP and grab more units in such a volatile market situation. If you want to add or invest a lump sum amount, invest in a staggered manner via HCP route. Sit with your advisor and have a relook at a portfolio. Exit non-performing schemes. Check if allocation is done wisely according to your goals across all the categories. You can share your portfolio with us and we can have an audit of your portfolio. One should always audit their portfolio at least once in a year. So guys, to cut your long story short, equity markets will start to do well once again when the war stops. Inflation will cool down within no time once geopolitical tensions have eased out and bullishness in Indian markets will again be restored. Overall, if you compare our markets with US markets, we have outperformed even when the markets have corrected. This shows that Indian investors are resilient enough and the growth story of India is still intact and have a long way to go ahead in the future. So guys, if you want to audit your portfolio, just reply with MF audit and we can get in touch with you to audit your portfolio. Thank you so much for watching this video.